Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video on my channel, Hairliciously. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe so that you guys are updated on hair loss and hair transplant topics, as well as updates on current hair loss treatments in the pipelines. Visit my website at hairliciously.com to purchase your microneedling device, which is scientifically proven to stimulate hair growth, my low-level laser therapy cap, DHT blocking shampoo, conditioner, and serum, hair growth vitamins, and a few other products to help those who are losing hair. So in today's video, I wanted to share with you yet another before and after result of a guy on Trestless who shared with us his amazing hair transformation after being on Dutasteride and Microneedling. These were the only two treatments that he's been on, and apparently for him, he's seen some pretty incredible hair growth. I know that some of you guys, when you guys are watching a lot of these before and after, transformations, are a bit skeptical, but there really is no reason for this guy to be dishonest, and it's not like he's promoting anything or anything like that. The guy is claiming that he went from a full Norwood 3 all the way down to a Norwood 1, and he was obviously a great responder to the two treatments to treat his androgenic alopecia. So according to his post, the guy's been on Dutasteride for 2 years, and then he introduced microneedling just 9 months ago. He stated that microneedling was 100% the reason why he saw growth on his hairline, because when he was solely on Dutasteride, he didn't see any growth, and once he started introducing microneedling into his hair loss treatment regimen, he started seeing hair growth. As far as his regimen, he's taking 0.5 milligram Dutasteride orally 3 times a week. He uses a Dr Pen A6 set at 1.5 millimeters once every 2 weeks. He also stated that he did have sides initially from taking Dutasteride daily, which included mild erectile dysfunction and a low sex drive, but it went away after he changed his frequency to 3 times a week instead of taking it daily. So the photo here shows before treatment, we can see a visible receding hairline. I would place him, like I said, at a Norwood 3. I feel like people who are miniaturizing with thinning hair best respond to treatment because the hair follicles are still present, and it's a lot easier to revive existing thinning hair than trying to regrow hair on, completely miniaturized or bald areas. We can see the steep temple recession on both corners, and I feel like this guy had let his hair progress to the point where it has become noticeable. Now, had he obviously started treatment sooner, there's a good chance that he would have been able to stop further progression of hair loss. But the important thing here is that, he was being proactive and started treatment and started to target the root cause of hair loss before it got worse. In his case, he was using Dutasteride as his first line of defense. And then here we see a lot of good growth on his hairline, restoring the majority, if not all of his hair he previously had. And it's really amazing to see how much growth the combination of Dutasteride and microneedling has been able to restore this guy's hairline. And let me tell you that this is all without the intervention of Minoxidil, topical Minoxidil. In the post, he did state that, he isn't taking Minoxidil since he doesn't react too well to it. I'm not sure what he meant by that. I can only guess that it might be due to possible side effects. But it really is a shame because this guy would have been able to benefit a lot more from the combination of Minoxidil and microneedling, since basically every study that we see showing combination treatment of both Minoxidil and microneedling, show better hair density, it shows better hair diameter. So had he introduced Minoxidil into his treatment as well, I feel like he would have definitely seen a lot more growth. But, even at this point, just solely using Dutasteride and microneedling, he has literally been able to reverse his receding hairline back. So it's amazing, I think, to really see the efficacy of microneedling take place in addition to Dutasteride. Not everyone is going to respond positively to microneedling, but as you know, I myself am a strong advocate in adding microneedling into a hair loss treatment regimen. And when you see incredible results and transformation like this, especially from people who are claiming to have started seeing results only after they started introducing microneedling, into the hair loss treatment regimen, it's really a no-brainer. I will mention that he is also microneedling each area for about 30 seconds to a minute per temple, and states that he does achieve bleeding, which I think is also an important aspect and an important indicator that you are microneedling at the proper depth. Now, not all studies on microneedling reference bleeding, but a lot of them at least achieve pinpoint bleeding, and I think this is an important factor in really getting deep enough into the scalp, but also not too deep, into the proper dermal layer of the scalp to stimulate growth. Most studies reference, 1.5 millimeters as the optimal depth, but this could theoretically depend on the thickness of each individual scalp as well. This would have to be, discussed in a separate video, but I have read about studies that show that men who are afflicted with varying degrees of, genetic hair loss tend to have thinner scalp skin layers. So depending on the extent of hair loss, microneedling at the recommended 1.5 millimeter may need to be adjusted accordingly to, maybe something lower, depending on how extent your hair loss is, the reduction of scalp skin thickness. But without going off tangent, I've also recently covered the topic of microneedling as monotherapy for the treatment of hair loss. And there are multiple studies that confirm the efficacy microneedling has in promoting hair growth. So sometimes it kind of baffles me, like when I'm on YouTube watching other hair loss channels that try to debunk or claim that microneedling is ineffective. It's true that there are still shortcomings in microneedling as far as like frequency is concerned and the optimal needle length. But what we do know for a fact is that incorporating, some form of microneedling, especially more so if it's combined with treatments including 5-alpha reductase inhibitors and growth stimulants like Minoxidil, has been beneficial in treating hair loss. In this guy's case, he jumped from finasteride to dutasteride initially because he was still experiencing hair loss while on finasteride, and after he quit finasteride and got on dutasteride, he stated that his hair loss was stabilized. We know that 1 milligram of finasteride typically blocks about 70% systemic DHT, which means that there's still that 30% that is still lingering in the system and can still contribute to, further hair loss. But blocking a big chunk of DHT through finasteride is going to work in the majority of people in slowing further hair loss. And the key word here is slowing down, because not all DHT is accounted for, let alone, other androgens like testosterone that is still present. But to some people, this won't be enough and will require you to take something stronger, or a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor like dutasteride, to basically wipe out the majority of systemic DHT. Dutasteride is going to wipe out about 90 to 95% plus of systemic DHT. And there are a lot of cases where DHT inhibition from 0.5 milligram of dutasteride is so potent that a blood test is not going to be able to detect any DHT in the system. And this is why this guy was likely able to stop further hair loss, because DHT is going to be more problematic as an androgen than testosterone. And even from, taking dutasteride, even when it results in about 15 to 20% increase in, testosterone levels as a result of DHT suppression, he's still able to stabilize and, potentially stop further progression of hair loss. Me personally, if I were him, I think I would also have no issue taking dutasteride if finasteride wasn't working well in slowing, hair loss. When I got my first hair transplant in South Korea at Motion Clinic, they actually prescribed me dutasteride initially, since dutasteride is approved in Korea by the Ministry of Food and their Drug Safety, which is kind of like their FDA for treating androgenetic alopecia. But I really didn't want to jump straight into something much more powerful and potent, especially when studies show that finasteride works pretty well in the majority of users. But, God forbid, if I do start experiencing progression of further hair loss, my next step is to jump on 0.5 milligram dutasteride, and hopefully that will work in stopping any further hair loss for good. A lot of people actually make the jump from dutasteride to finasteride if they do not clinically respond. And after making the switch, the majority are able to actually halt further hair loss. I'm not too worried about potential side effects because I'm lucky to the point where I haven't really experienced any side effects while on finasteride. And even with like dutasteride, studies do show that there isn't a significant difference when compared with finasteride. The other good thing about dutasteride, in case you guys didn't know, is that it has a much longer half-life. It's around like 5 weeks or so compared to finasteride's like 5 to 7 hours. So it is very possible that you can get by taking just 3 times a day or 3 times a week, just like the guy has been doing for the past couple of years. On the other hand, I don't honestly know how much more effective, like if you guys were to use like topical finasteride or topical dutasteride, is over compared to the oral tablet. But people who are more prone to getting side effects can consider the topical route as an alternative. And for some people, they have found this to be beneficial in stopping hair loss. But at the end of the day, this guy was able to go back from a Norwood 3 to a Norwood 2. I know that in the post he said Norwood 1, but that looks nowhere close to Norwood 1. I think it's closer to Norwood 2. And because this guy did incorporate treatment first, not only was he able to reverse his hair loss and restore his receding temples and his hairline, but at the same time, he was also able to, save himself from the hassle of undergoing a hair transplant. This should definitely serve as an example and a reminder for those who are losing hair to, always be on medication. Something that is proven to work, and also to add in different treatments like microneedling that can work incredibly well through different mechanisms of action. I'm sure this guy is, obviously extremely happy with his results that he was able to achieve from his combination treatment. And this I feel like is another proof that hair loss reversal is very possible, especially the quicker that you guys act. That's all I have for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave some comments below, or you can shoot me an email. I also have one-on-one consultations with viewers and my subscribers who are interested in speaking with me to get hair loss treatment recommendations and doctor recommendations as well. I also do scalp micropigmentation in Maryland for those who want to do density fills, or if you guys wanted to cover up your FUE scars or your FUT, or for those who are at a more advanced stage of hair loss and they just want to reestablish a more natural looking hairline with the kind of like a buzz cut appearance. Thanks for all of your support, guys, and don't hesitate to reach out, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Take care.